In this lecture, I am going to talk about the response of linear systems when the input is a random signal. So, you have an LTI system, linear time invariant system, and the input is a random signal. Let me denote it by x of t, and the output is y of t, and the impulse response of the system is ht. So we know that in the time domain, given a system with the impulse response of h of t, the output is the convolution of the input x of t. Okay, and this is the unit impulse response. H of t is called a unit impulse response. So input is a random waveform, and the output of y of t is also a random waveform. And this waveform comes from the random process. Okay, so input is a random waveform, therefore input is a random process. So I can also use the letter x of t to denote the input. Okay, so we saw that in one of the previous lecture that when a random process passes through an LTI system, the output is also random process. Okay, defined on the original probability space. Therefore, output y of t is equal to x of t convolved with the h of t, or you can write in terms of convolution integral x of lambda times h of t minus lambda times d lambda, and the limit is from minus infinity to plus infinity. You could also have taken the other equivalent form, that is integral of x of t minus lambda times h of lambda times d lambda. So this also valid expression. Let me call this is equation number 1 and this is 2 and this one is 3. I find it a little more convenient to use this expression, equation number 3. Okay, it is a very convenient form in the context of a random signal, especially for random signal, especially when the input is a random signal. Therefore we shall stick on this equation. And one more point I wanted to tell you here. Now from equation 3, we may view this equation 3 as an operation on an ensemble member, meaning these are called ensemble members. Okay, either you can give this to the input system or you can give this to the input system. So output is some kind of waveforms. Same LTI system, but you are and again you'll get like this. So there is collection of waveforms. So the input is any one from the collection of waveforms, right? Similarly, in the output also you have output process, and from this you will get some kind of waveforms. Therefore, you can view this operation as an you can view this equation as an operation on an ensemble member x of t of a random process capital X of t. This is the random process and this one is the ensemble member. It is denoted by x of t. Okay, and this ensemble member produces an ensemble member of your output random process yt. Okay, so the input is ensemble of your random process capital X of t, and the output is ensemble of the output random process capital Y of t. So with this viewpoint, you can think, you may think of this equation 3 as defining the process y of t in terms of x of t convolved with a small h of t. See, you can use y of t and x of t also, no problem, but in general you can use this equation also as a valid equation. Okay, therefore when a random process passes through an LTI system, the output is also a random process. So the input is a random process x of t, and the output is also a random process y of t, because the input is random process. Okay, so this is the convention that I will try to use it here. So sometimes I use output as small y of t equal to x of t convolved with h of t, or if I consider the whole process, then I may write capital Y of t is equal to capital X of t times convolved with h of t. Okay, note. By means of the convolution integral, it is possible to determine the response of a linear system to a very general excitation. See, the input is, it can be any general excitation. Okay, in the case of no time, but in the case of time varying systems or non-stationary random process or non-stationary random excitations or non-stationary random inputs, or both, the details become quite involved. If it is LTI system, then no problem, it is simply you can write a convolution of the input with the impulse response of the system. But in the case of time varying systems or non-stationary random excitations, I mean non-stationary random inputs, or both that is non-stationary random input and non-linear systems, then the details become quite involved. You cannot write simply x of t convolved with h of t, and therefore these cases will not be considered in our discussion. So we are not going to consider non-linear system, or we are not going to consider non-stationary random process. Okay, so neither non-linear system nor non-stationary random process. Okay, so to make the analysis more realistic, we will further restrict our considerations to physically realizable systems. When I say physically realizable, that means my impulse response h of t is 0 when t is less than 0. That means what? Causal system. This is a condition for physical realizability. Physically realizable. And also I will consider the stability constraints of the system. That means you take h of t, mod of that, and integrate from minus infinity to plus infinity, and this should be finite, so it should be less than infinity. So this is a condition for stability. So starting from these specifications, many important characteristics of the output of a system can be determined. Okay, so when the system is excited by a stationary random process, so the input is stationary random process, and the impulse the system we are going to consider is LTI system. Impulse response is h of t, and this is my y of t. So two conditions we are assuming. The one is stationary random excitations and linear time invariant systems. So this is the time domain representation. Of a linear system. So whenever you have a linear system, this is a way by which you will represent it. So in as much as we are concentrating only on the WSS process, okay, we don't want to consider a non-stationary random process, so we want to consider only WSS process. Therefore, x of t is assumed to be WSS. WSS means wide sense stationary random process. Of course, it can be shown that y of t would also be a WSS process if the input process x of t is WSS, wide sense stationary. Okay. This is your LTI system. Input is x of t and the output is y of t. If the input x of t is WSS, then the output also can also be shown as WSS process. Maybe it would be obvious. Even if it is not obvious, then it can be shown, not a problem. So if x of t is WSS, then for LTI system it implies that y of t also WSS. Now, given the mean value function and autocorrelation function of the input process, we would like to find out, or we would like to ask the following questions. X of t is given, x of t is a input process, and this for input process we know the mean value function, and that mean value function is denoted by mu x of t, and autocorrelation function of the random process x of t, that is Rxx of t comma t1 comma t2. If it is wide sense stationary, then it becomes Rxx of tau, and this becomes constant mu x if it is wide sense stationary. Okay, now if this is the condition, if this is known to us, if this is given to us, we would like to ask the following question. The first question is, how can we obtain the mean and autocorrelation of the output process? As I said, the output is denoted by y of t. For y of t, how do you find out mu y of t? Or if it is wide sense stationary, then how do you find out mu y? Then how do you find out the autocorrelation function of the output process t1 comma t2? How do you find out this? If it is stationary, then you can write r y of tau. How do you find out this? And the second question that you would like to ask is the cross correlation between input and output process. So how do you find out? How would you find out the cross correlation? Between input and output, meaning the cross correlation between x of t and y of t. That means what? The cross correlation or x y of t1 comma t2. How do you find out this? And the next question that we would like to ask is, under what conditions will the input and output process be stationary? Okay, under what conditions will x of t is stationary and y of t is stationary? That means jointly stationary. Okay, so look at the mean value function first, and then one by one we will see. So our first immediate job is we will try to find out mean value of the system response. That means mean of the output process. Now, given an LTI system with its impulse response h of t, and the output is y of t, input is x of t. Now, how is y of t related to x of t? Y of t through the convolution. Therefore, y of t is equal to x of t convolved with the h of t. So basically that is your starting point. Start with the convolution integral, okay, in the time domain. Therefore, y of t is equal to convolution integral x of t minus lambda times h of lambda d lambda, or integral of x of lambda h of t minus lambda times d lambda. Let me call this is equation 1, this is 2, and this is 3. And equation 2, this is the most convenient form of the convolution integral in the context of random signal. I will tell you why this is most convenient form. Why this form is very convenient. It's very easy to handle than equation 3. Though they are equivalent representation of your convolution operation, but this 2 is very, very convenient form. Okay, now you can ask, why does this equation 2 is most convenient form of the convolution integral, but I will tell you this in a minute. Okay, here h of t is the deterministic function. X of t is a random signal and h of t is the deterministic function. So to find the mean value, take expectation, because our topic is we need to find out the mean value, right? So take the expectation on both sides. Expected value of y of t is equal to integral of, that is x of t minus lambda h of lambda d lambda, and the limit is minus infinity to plus infinity. Now expectation is a linear operator, right? You can take it inside. You can interchange integration and expectation. It is a linear operator with respect to density function of the process. So since it is a linear operator, under certain conditions you can interchange expectation and this integral. Okay, this integral and this expectation both are interchangeable. So I can take the expectation operator inside the integral, and this integral is with respect to time, because you look at here d lambda, instead of lambda it is a time parameter. So this integral is with respect to time. Okay, so here we use lambda to denote the time. So instead of using t, we are using lambda. That is, you are integrating with respect to time. So this integral says integrating with respect to time. But what about your expectation? Right? The expectation operator and the integrator operator can be interchanged, because the expectation is operating on the PDF. Okay, so therefore E of y of t is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity expectation of x of t minus lambda times h of lambda times d lambda. Now this is a deterministic function. You can use the rule of expectation of ax equal to a times expectation of x. Therefore integral expected value of x of t minus lambda times h of lambda times d lambda, and the input side expected value of y of t. Now this E of y of t has no meaning. Okay, really speaking, we want the average. So the averaging will operate on the process x of t, not on the sample function. See, this y x of t is a sample function. So this E operator operates on the process, not on the sample function. We know that the random process x of t is a collection of waveforms. You can have many waveforms. You cannot take one waveform and going to say I want to find x of t, this one. This has no meaning actually. Simply you cannot take one waveform, let's say x1 of t, and substitute here, and I want to find that expected value, then it has no meaning. Okay, so that means you should take all the waveforms so that you can write capital X of t. This has meaning. Okay, so let us say we have 4 waveforms. This waveform occurs with the probability 4, and this occurs with the probability 3, and this occurs with the probability 2, and this occurs with the probability 1. Okay, the fourth waveform occurs with the probability 0.1. Now let us apply the sample function x1 of t to the LTI system. What you will get? You will get let's say y1 of t. y1 of t is integral of minus infinity plus infinity x1 of t minus lambda h of lambda d lambda. If you apply second signal to the same system, you will get y of t is equal to integral minus infinity to plus infinity x2 of t minus lambda h of lambda d lambda. Okay, and so on and so forth. Now what we are saying is that we will not use the LTI system for any one specific sample function, right? So you cannot say like, I want to use only one this sample function. I wanted to use all the sample function from the random process. Therefore, we wanted to know the average output. That is, you take the average output over the all possible inputs. So this is one possible input, this is one possible input, this is another possibility, and this is another possibility. So that's why we bring the expectation operation. So expectation over ensemble, a collection of functions. Okay, so this collection of functions are denoted by x of t. So the conclusion point is expectation of x of t has no meaning, but expected value of x of t has meaning. So therefore you replace this small x of t by capital X of t. Okay, therefore the output, average output E of y of t is equal to integral of expected value of capital X of t minus lambda times h of lambda d lambda, and the limit is minus infinity to plus infinity. Now what is this? Don't you see that this is by definition the mean value of what? X of t minus lambda, or I can say x of t, no problem, shifted process, that's it. Okay, therefore the expectation of a process x of t is denoted by mu x of t. If you want to find the shifted version of your random process x of t minus lambda, then it is mu x of t minus lambda, and this one is going to be mu y of t. So on the left hand side you have mu y of t, the right hand side integral of mu x of t minus lambda, then h of lambda d lambda, and the limit is from minus infinity to plus infinity. And since we are assuming that the input process x of t is what? WSS process. Okay, so if x of t is the WSS, then what will be the value of this guy? This is going to be a constant, right? So it will be a constant. So mu x of t minus lambda is a constant. Let me denote the constant by a symbol mu sub x. So therefore this integral is going to be mu x times h of lambda d lambda. That mu x you can pull out of the integration, mu x h of lambda times d lambda, and in the left hand side you have mu y of t. I'm sorry, mu y of t, mu sub y of t. Now the mean value at the output is the mean value at the input multiplied by integral of minus infinity to plus infinity h of lambda times d lambda. Okay, so that shows that if the input process is stationary up to first order, the output process will also be stationary. Why? Because this is a constant. And what about this? Is it constant? Because you are integrating out from minus infinity to plus infinity. Once you do the integration, then what you will get? You will get a number. Okay, so therefore this integration is not depend on time. It is a constant. Okay, so this is not function of time. The integral is not function of time. Once you carry out the integration, you will get some number. Therefore mu x is constant and the integration is constant, some number h lambda times d lambda. So this is constant and this also constant. So what you can say about the output process, this also automatically turns out to be a constant. Therefore the moral of the story is, like, if the input process is stationary, then the output is also a stationary process, that is WSS process. Okay, after integration this guy is going to be a constant. Okay, it is not a function of time. Okay, it is a constant for a given system. Okay, and it is going to be a fixed value for a given system. And therefore you find that the mean value of the output is also not a function of time. Therefore mu y of t is equal to simply mu y, which is mu x times integral of h of lambda times d lambda, and the limit is minus infinity to plus infinity. Now the next question is, as I said, it is a number, right? What is that number? Don't you see that this is the area under the impulse function? Area under the impulse function. Let's say your impulse function is like this. Now h of t times dt and minus infinity to plus infinity. What is this? This is the area under the impulse function. Now can you express this area under the impulse function in terms of frequency domain relation? Now is it possible to represent this guy in terms of frequency domain representation or frequency domain relation? Now for that, what you do, you take h of lambda, multiply the integrand by e to the minus s lambda d lambda. Then what would have this become? This would have become capital H of s, right? That is Laplace transform of, what is that? Laplace transform of h of t. Okay, so this will be your system function. So what you do is you multiply the integrand by e to the minus s lambda, then this becomes Laplace transform of h of t, and that is denoted by a symbol or notation by h of s. So this is called a system function or the transfer function. Now we want to get rid of this exponent. How do you get rid of this? See, h of s is equal to integral of e to the minus s lambda. Originally we did not have this e to the minus s lambda, so I want to remove that guy. So put s equal to 0. Put s equal to 0. Then e to the minus s becomes unity. So you will get h of 0 is equal to integral minus infinity to plus infinity h of lambda times 1 times d lambda. Therefore, the area under the impulse response is nothing but the system response at the frequency f equal to 0. S equal to 0 means f equal to 0 because s equal to j omega if for sinusoidal excitation. Therefore, the mean value of the output is mu x times h of 0, or let me write one more time, integral of h of lambda d lambda minus infinity plus infinity. So this is just now we have derived as h of 0 mu x times h of 0. This is your mu y. So we proved mu y equal to mu x times h naught, and this result is intuitively very appealing because you can think of the mean value of the input as a DC component of the process. Right? That is mean value is intuitively considered to be the zero frequency component because the frequency is 0. Okay, so whenever we say average value or mean value, there we consider that the frequency is 0. Now what is it saying? Okay, the mean value of the output is the mean value of the input, this one, multiplied by the response of the system h of s at DC. DC means frequency equal to 0 if the input process is WSS. Please note down that mu y is equal to mu x times h of 0 if the input process x of t is WSS. Otherwise you will not get this expression. That expression is going to be wrong. This expression is valid only if the input process is WSS process. Okay, so h of 0, response of the system at DC. Therefore, f equal to 0 or s equal to j omega, that is j times 2 pi f, that means 0. So how do you get h of 0 from h of s? Put s equal to 0, then you will end up with h of 0. So s equal to 0 corresponds to what? Direct current, or you can say direct voltage, whatever it is, because the frequency is 0. And in that sense, h of 0 is a ratio of two constants. Okay, so in that sense, h of 0 is a ratio of mean value of the output to the mean value of the input, and this mean is over ensemble. Okay, mean is over ensemble. And sometimes h of 0 is also called a DC gain of the system. So the ratio of the two averages in the ratio of two averages is the DC gain. Okay, this is slightly loose terminology. So we proved that the output random process has a mean value. It is denoted by mu y, which is equal to the mean value of the input random process mu x multiplied by h of 0. And as I said, this relation holds only if the input process is WSS, void sense stationary. And this is the first relation between the output and input of an LTI system. First relation, very important relation. And it is a very simple and basic relation. So if you know the frequency response, in particular if you know the frequency response at f equal to 0, that is 0 frequency, then it is very easy to relate input and output of an LTI system. Now during the lecture I told you we have two equation y of t. One is integral of x of t times h of t minus lambda times d lambda, and another one is equivalent one is x of t minus lambda times h of lambda and d lambda. This is more convenient and than this is not that much convenient. Why? The reason is as follows. Okay, suppose let me take this one. Let us see what will happen. You take expectation on both sides. E of y of t is equal to expected value of integral of x of t h of t minus lambda times d lambda. Take expectation inside. So and h of t minus tau is constant. You can pull out of the expectation. This is expectation of x of t times h of t minus lambda d lambda y of t. And as I said, I cannot apply expectation over a single waveform or sample function. So let me put a random process. Output random process is equal to output random process, that is expectation of output random process is equal to expected value of the input random process x of t multiplied by h of t minus lambda. Okay, and this we denoted as mu x of t, and if it is a WSS process, then it is mu x. It is a constant. You can pull out of the integration, and this is mu y of t. Now look, there is a problem in this one. If you look at here, then this integration depends not only on lambda but also what? Time parameter t. Therefore it is somewhat difficult to simplify that. Okay, so especially for random signal, so don't take that don't take this form. So it is a little difficult because the final result is going to be dependent on the parameter t. Okay, so now you can see the difficulty. The integral limit depends on the integral limit depends not only on the lambda but also on t. So it gives unnecessary complications. So don't take this one. So just avoid this. Consider this one only. Therefore, instead of choosing this expression, I can choose this one, and then you will end up with a very simple, nice expression. Suppose if you took this guy we derived already. So then expected value of y of t is equal to mu x times h of lambda times d lambda minus infinity plus infinity. Now there is no t here, so it is very nice to use this one. Now let me consider one example based on this. As an example, suppose we have a simple RC network. So I put a R, capacitor, this is C, R, and the input is a random process x of t, and the output is a random process y of t. Now for this RC network, what is h of s? I mean transfer function, output by input. Output is y of t and input is x of t. If you work on it, then you can show that h of s equal to 1 by s CR plus 1. Very easy to show. Okay, this I can write as 1 over CR times s plus 1 over CR. Let 1 over CR is equal to b. Therefore, your h of s equal to b by s plus b. This is your h of s. Now what is h of 0? It is h of s when s equal to 0. Substitute h of s equal to 0 in this. Then h of 0 equal to b by 0 plus b, which is 1. Therefore, at DC, the response equal to, what is the response? 1 at DC. Because the capacitor will be open circuited for DC. Even you can think this result intuitively from the circuit itself. When you apply DC, then what happens? Capacitor will open. So whatever you apply, that will appear in the output. Therefore, for this circuit, mu y is equal to mu x times h of 0. H of 0 is 1. Therefore, mu x. Mu y is equal to mu x. Therefore, the output mean value is equal to the mean value of the input itself. And you can verify this result in the time domain. Okay, so this is a verification in the frequency domain. Why is it in the frequency domain? Because we considered h of s in the frequency domain. Okay, so you can verify the result in the time domain. So in the time domain, what you want, always start from your basic block diagram. Input is x of t and the output is y of t, and the impulse response is h of t. Y of t is equal to x of t convolved with h of t. So now we know x of t, we wanted to know y of t in terms of x of t and h of t. Now what is h of t? Inverse Laplace transform of your system function. What is your system function? H of s equal to b by s plus b. So your impulse response h of t equal to inverse Laplace transform of h of s. H of t is equal to b times e to the power of minus bt into u of t. So x of t h of t is this one, and this we proved the mean value of the output mu y is equal to mean value of the input mu x times integral of this guy. E to the power of d lambda minus infinity plus infinity. Now substitute h of lambda value here, mu x integral of h of lambda is going to be b times e to the power of minus bt into u of t and dt. We know that u of t is a step function, it exists from 0 to 1, right? Therefore mu x integral of the limit changes from 0 to infinity b times e to the minus bt and dt, and b is a constant, you can pull out of the integral. So mu x times b times integral of e to the minus bt, and do this integration, it's a very simple. And finally the limit is 0 to infinity, then after substitution then the b and b will get cancelled and the minus sign also will go, so mu x alone will present. In the left hand side you have mu y, therefore the output mean value is equal to the input mean value for this given RC network. So at this point let me stop. In the next lecture I will talk about mean square value of the output process. I will talk about this in the next lecture. Okay, at this point let me stop. Thank you very much.